Thanks for coming to Pinterest Toronto Meet and Greet. My name is Patrick and I'm a tech lead. I'm based out of the Toronto office. You can probably tell I'm about 3 months overdue for my haircut. I've been in lockdown with the rest of you. Today, you're going to meet with a set of key tech leaders at Pinterest on our panels. You're going to hear about the cool work that we're doing and the plans for our Toronto office. But before I talk about myself, why don't I introduce Pinterest a little bit more? So Pinterest's mission is to inspire people to create a life that they love. People use our product to get inspiration for vacations, for fashion, for style, renovations, learning about new hobbies. And we have quite a bit of users which have grown. Last year, there was 37% user growth in our monthly active users. And we now have over 450 million monthly active users, which means over 41% of the US internet users actually interact with Pinterest every month. And Pinterest is a place filled with positivity. Unlike some of the other big internet tech companies, we're not caught up in privacy or politics or exploitation controversies. People use Pinterest as a place for inspiration. It's full of positivity. So let me tell you about why I joined Pinterest Toronto. In the fall, I was looking for a new job and I searched for a lot of tech companies, spoke to a lot of companies. I was looking for a place that had a great reputation with tech, that had good people to work with, and a place I could be proud to work with. And of course, somewhere that I thought had a lot of growth potential. And Pinterest really hit all of that. And I spoke to the people at Pinterest. They were definitely the friendliest by far. They have a lot of cool problems, which you're going to hear about from our panelists. It's a big and growing tech company, but at Pinterest, it's still small enough where individual engineers make a huge impact. And our Toronto office is going to own some really key initiatives around shopping. And we're definitely a place that you can be proud to work for. When I told my mom about some of the other companies I was talking to, it made her cringe. But when I spoke to my wife and my mom about Pinterest, they're like, "Oh, you have to work there." And finally, I am a big believer in Pinterest. Pinterest, I used it personally as part of my renovations. My wife and I, we saw lots of great pictures, and we actually wanted to buy the items there. It could be difficult to figure out, how do I get these things? It's not that often where you see a product where people want you to sell to them more. And that's where we have this huge opportunity for shopping. So next up, Dan is going to come and talk about our plans for growing shopping at Pinterest.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dan, and yes, I am fully twinning with Patrick today. We have the same sweater, and I also have a dark blue background. So, it's something in the water, I suppose. I have been at Pinterest for 6 years. I originally joined to lead our analytics team after doing a similar role at LinkedIn. And after that, switched over to lead our growth product team. And then about a year ago, I switched over to lead our shopping product team. So I'm happy to share a bit more with you today about what our shopping vision is, what we're trying to build. And then I'm going to moderate a panel, as Patrick mentioned, with some of the tech leaders who are making this happen. So let me quickly share my screen. First off, I just have to note that our design team found this amazing GIF of a shopper, which I really, really appreciate. So what are we trying to do at Pinterest with shopping? We are trying to create a thriving, trustworthy ecosystem where merchants, brands, and creators can grow their business by inspiring pinners to discover, compare, and buy products. Now, that's a lot of words. In a much simpler form, we are trying to create a marketplace. We are trying to help shoppers find a spark of inspiration for something that they want to create in their life, the renovation that Patrick was talking about. And then we want to help them find specific products that can bring that spark of inspiration to life. Their purchases of those products then become the incentive for our merchant and retail partners to invest time and money in our platform, making this beautiful figure 8 motion. I wouldn't be a PM if I didn't have a flywheel, of course. And this is more relevant than ever because as a result of us all being stuck at home, we're spending a lot more time and money online. So this graph is showing the percent of US retail sales that are happening online. You can see they spiked dramatically last year, and they're expected to stay quite elevated and continue to grow a lot faster than overall sales. So this is really a great place to be. Consumers want to be able to shop online. So we are helping deliver a product to them that they want. And what does that actually mean? You might be a little confused by the fact that we're investing in shopping because our features don't currently exist in Canada. So if you're a Pinterest user or if you went to test them out, you probably didn't see them. They will be there soon. But I wanted to share some of the highlights of what we're building to start. So as Patrick mentioned, people use us to get inspiration to create a life they love. And one really common use case is that people are trying to figure out how to decorate or renovate their space. So they might see a scene like the one on the left here, this inspiring living room, and maybe they really love the rug. Historically, that's kind of where Pinterest ended. We didn't actually help them to find that specific rug or a rug that's like it that could work for their space. What we've been doing over the last couple years is trying to close that loop using computer vision to identify objects inside of these scenes and then recommend products that are in stock, in your price range, and relevant for you via a feature that we call Close-Up Shop. And so that's what's on the screen right now. Now, if you are out and about, which I know most of us are not currently, and you just see something that you love, we also want you to be able to just take a photo of it and then shop directly there. And so we call this feature shopping from Lens or shopping from the camera. And this is out in the US as well. In a much more traditional way too, if you already know what you're looking for, you've already kind of narrowed down just from inspiration to something specific that you're trying to purchase, we want to make that possible. So if you search for bedroom furniture or if you search for nightstand or something like that, we're going to provide you now relevant product search results rather than just inspirational scenes and images, which is what historically our search experience was really centered around. Now, all of those examples are how we help connect inspiration to specific products. But once you've found a product that might suit your needs in one way or another, you want to learn a lot more about it. In e-commerce, this is known as a product detail page. You've interacted with these pages across the web on any shopping website or Amazon. It's where you learn things like shipping information, reviews, you see dimensions and sizes, all that type of stuff. We're working to bring that information into Pinterest to help pinners make decisions as they go through their shopping journey. And if they don't see the quite right product, we want to help them pivot to substitutes or related products that might be right for them, might be a little bit better. Once they find a product that's right for them, we want to help them try it on. So we have a feature called Virtual Try On, where you can see how eyeshadow or lipstick might look on you, and we're expanding this to other types of products in the future. And in the spirit of making sure that pinners can see how a product will look on them, we have industry-leading work to diversify our search results and make sure that pinners can pivot within search results to see people who look like them, to really see how a beauty look or a fashion look will look on them. Now, enabling all of this on the other side of the ecosystem are our merchant and retail partners who upload catalogs, upload their feed of products that then we can recommend in all these different ways inside of Pinterest. And so while this GIF may not be the most exciting compared to some of the consumer features we just showed, it's really critical for making our ecosystem work. And more than just the basics, we're building features that help merchants to connect with pinners in new and inspiring ways. What this is currently showing is the ability for a merchant to tag specific products inside of their inspiring imagery. So you can really narrow down as a shopper and figure out exactly the product that's going to help you bring something to life. So just 2 more slides and we'll get to the panel. I wanted to give a quick glimpse of the future. First off, I mentioned that our features aren't currently live in Canada. They're live in the US and the UK, but we're bringing shopping to Canada, France, Germany, and Australia in the spring. So it's coming in just a couple months. And then we're thinking about ways to evolve our platform. And one thing that we're really excited about investing in is the ability to check out inside of Pinterest. You've seen some of the other social media apps do this. It's something that's very logical from a shopper perspective. We want to decrease the time for someone to convert. And there's actually a lot of value for us as a business too. So it's something that we're exploring, no concrete plans just yet, but we're excited to pursue. And with that, I'm actually going to move us back to the panel. So if the panelists could join me, that would be great. Hello.
Hello.
I'm seeing, okay, great. We have our full panel here and we are almost completely matching. To kick it off, could each member of the panel please introduce themselves and talk about how long you've been at Pinterest and why you decided to join? And I'll call on people so that we don't talk over each other too much. So maybe we can start with Joyce.
Hello everyone, I'm Joyce. I'm leading the shopping product team at Pinterest. I joined Pinterest around like 5 to 6 years ago. Pinterest got started when I was in college. I was amazed by such a beautiful app design, and they have so many like inspirational and visual content on it. It was a very unique app, and a lot of my friends keep talking about it. So believe it or not, at that moment, I already felt that Pinterest has a huge potential for the shopping use cases. So a couple of years later, I was thrilled to join the commerce team at Pinterest and start my Pinterest journey from there.
Great, thank you. Somnath, how about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Somnath Banerjee. I'm the engineering manager of the shopping discovery team. And I joined Pinterest in April 2019. This is a special month for Pinterest because in this month, Pinterest did IPO and went public. And I consider myself very fortunate to be part of that moment of the company. And I joined Pinterest from Walmart Labs. I worked at Walmart Labs and other companies like Google and HP Labs. And the reason I decided to join Pinterest, I would say three things, is people, the technology, and the great or massive opportunity for shopping. In terms of people, I think during the interview process, each and every one I met, I was pretty impressed. And by the end of the interview, I was pretty certain that this is a place I would love to work. And in terms of technology, I think Pinterest, from my experience, I'm pretty certain that Pinterest has the most advanced machine learning technology running in production. Starting from that Graph Sage embedding candidate generator, AutoML, the Bayesian optimization of the utility, it's pretty state-of-the-art, pretty advanced. And the opportunity coming from e-commerce background, I saw Pinterest shopping can be massive. So it's a pretty big opportunity, and because of this reason, I'm pretty excited to be here.
Yeah, and we're excited that you are here. Bo, how about you?
Hi everyone, my name is Bo. I manage the shopping content and the user understanding team. I joined Pinterest for about 4.5 years. Before that, I worked at LinkedIn, Microsoft Research. I joined that moment because I wanted to go to a pre-IPO company so that I can have a bigger impact. But more interesting, I can share some more personal story. Like Yuri Lastovic is a very famous professor in Stanford, our chief scientist, made a self call to me and talk a lot about the interesting ML challenges, which convinced me to join, which I will later share what he told me. Another interesting thing is Deepak Agora, who was my Skip manager at that time. He was also at LinkedIn, also well-known person in recommendation industry. He was trying to convince me to stay at LinkedIn, and I almost decided to join. He said, "Okay, where are you joining?" I'm considering Pinterest and some other smaller startups. Then he, advised me that, hey, Pinterest seems like an interesting company. Then I also took his advice and joined Pinterest. Then what happened? Fast forward 4 years. Deepak also joined Pinterest. He's again my Skip manager, as he actually lead all the core engineering, responsible for all the organic experiences at Pinterest. So
it's funny when you make the decision first.
yeah.
Okay, Hannah, how about you?
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I lead the product analytics and data science team for shopping. I joined Pinterest in March 2020, so right after the COVID lockdown. So for me, it has been remote the whole time since I joined. Before Pinterest, I had data science at Airbnb for professional host and business travel. I also founded a beauty e-commerce company, so I have special interest in the online shopping marketplace. Another reason why I joined Pinterest is I am a strong believer in shopping at Pinterest. To me, it's more of a how and when question rather than if.
Well, thank you. Okay, so for our first question, I think it would be really helpful if everyone on the call could talk about what their teams work on and how they work together to create the shopping experience that our consumers see. So why don't we plan on doing the same order and go Joyce, Samnak, Bo, Hannah.
Yeah, sure. I will start. So my team is responsible for building a brand new visual and personalized shopping experience for our user worldwide. We are working very closely with design teams, product teams, and all the other shopping backend teams day to day to build our user-facing features through our entire shopping journey. We're starting from like up funnel, which pivot user from inspiration to the products. We enable users to shop based on a page, a search queries, a user's board, or a brand. So any inspiration you find on Pinterest will provide an easy gateway for you to shop. And then for the middle funnel, we build a product detail page, product comparison tools, and etc. to help users to evaluate the products and make confident purchase decisions. And then for lower funnel, we are working on building a seamless checkout experience to allow the user to place order very easily.
Cool. Who dropped off? Hannah dropped off? Okay. I think she'll be back soon.
Yeah,
So-
hopefully she'll come back.
Yeah, she'll come back soon. Yeah, so the shopping discovery team is responsible to help our users, we call them pinners, to discover or find the product they will love. And we do this by providing recommendation or shopping recommendations on various surfaces of Pinterest like search, close-up, user boards, etc. In terms of working together, the shopping discovery team sits right in the middle of Bo's team. Bo is going to talk about that, and Joyce's team. So Bo's team is building this wonderful and one of the largest retail catalog in the world. And my team takes this catalog, turns into a most relevant and personalized recommendation that is displayed by Joyce's team in different surfaces. Just to give you a couple of examples of the recommendations that our users really love. So on the product detail page, we have the shop similar recommendation. On search, we have product category recommendation, things like that. And like every day, we provide more than 100 million recommendations on all these surfaces. Bo, to you.
Yeah, thanks, Samnas. So my team is building, as Samna was saying, one of the biggest and accurate, comprehensive product catalog. Why that's important? Because without any product, our user have nothing to buy. And there are different technical challenges. For example, we need to really make our product attribute very, very accurate. And then we will kind of show those information to the product detail page that Joyce team is working on. And because that will enable our pinners to really have the trust for shopping at Pinterest. Another thing is we really need to bring all the available product even outside of Pinterest to the platform so that our user have, whenever they want to buy something, they can find it on Pinterest. And another thing why the catalog team is important is because having a really accurate and deeper understanding of the product content, like the attribute, categories, will allow like downstream teams, like user understanding, they can better understand users' interests and preferences. And it will also give a lot of good signal to Samna's team for ranking and recommending products. So that's how our teams work together. Yeah.
Cool. So they're kind of built on top of each other in some respects. We got your team as the base, the product catalog. Samnak's team is doing these ML-based recommendations on top of it. And then Joyce is actually displaying it to the user in the experiences that feel so engaging. So Hannah, thanks for rejoining us. Hopefully your connection is stable. Do you want to talk about how your team fits into this equation? You are muted right now. A year later, and we're all still doing this.
I think she's having connection problem.
Okay, well, I'll just add in for Hannah, and Hannah, you can correct me later. So she leads our product analytics and data science team. So they're responsible for using data to understand how our overall system is working, right? The overall marketplace, and to identify opportunities for where we should be developing new products or improving our metrics and measurement. And the biggest focus for this team is the fact that we are trying to reorient Pinterest from just being focused on user engagement and kind of content and creators and things like that to being focused on shopping. So we're trying to build measurement around purchases, and we're trying to build in a lot of e-commerce traditional metrics that haven't existed inside of our surface historically. And so Hannah, you should add more color when you get back online, but that would be how I would summarize your team. Okay, so I'd love to dive a bit deeper with each individual on your experience at Pinterest. And by the way, please continue to add questions in the chat. We will get to them, but I'm going to run through a couple things and then come back to them. So Joyce, maybe we can start with you again, since you've been here for the longest time out of anyone on our panel. Could you talk about how you've seen the company evolve and how our shopping strategy has evolved?
Yeah, sure. Maybe you can start with shopping strategy first. So we built actually the first iteration of Bible Pins around 5 years ago without actually full funnel of e-commerce experience. We spend a lot of time on the lower funnel of the shopping journey, things like native checkout flows. The biggest reason Bible Pin is not that successful is that users do not find them. It's really hard to let the user discover Bible Pins without being intrusive. But now for Pinterest Shopping 2.0, we focus on enable pinner to discover products they will love. So do this by meeting users where they are and connecting an idea that inspire them with very high quality products that will actually match their taste and intent. While a lot of services also do have a very massive product corpus, but their context actually is very limited to like people who bought this also bought that. People who view this also view that. They do not have the context, like how the product actually fit into the ideas or the inspirations that the shopper is looking to achieve. So our vision for products on Pinterest is that they never will be shown in isolation. They should always be contextualized. So for example, as Dan showed us previously, user can discover products through an image you found on Pinterest. So for shopping, so for Pinterest strategy overall, so historically, we have empowered pinner to bring their favorite content from web onto Pinterest. But now we are expanding our focus to more like inspirational people onto Pinterest, like creators and influencers. So thanks to creators, pinner can actually learn recipe directly from our good chef, get home decor tips from our interior decorators, or get some style tips from our fashion influencers. At the end of the last year, we introduced the story pins. Maybe it's called Spark now, to give creators a new way to publish a short form multi-page content and stories. So in addition to bring more like a native content to Pinterest, we also focus on delivering a richer experience for pinners and make Pinterest not only inspirational, but also actionable. Shopping is one of the most important use cases for Pinterest. So that's why shopping is one of the top priority for Pinterest as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for walking through that. So one thing you were talking about is how unique it is that on Pinterest, we have the context of what a user is broadly interested in, and we know what's inspiring them. So I wanted to take a moment to touch on one of the questions from the chat. Sachi asked, what potential in Pinterest shopping products are different from other marketplaces like Instagram Shop, Facebook Market, or others? And one thing I wanted to offer, and then I would love to hear from the rest of the panel what they think too, is that we really have a different mindset with our users. So our user is normally coming here to plan for something that's pretty far in advance. They're not just coming to Pinterest to waste time or while they're sitting at the bus stop. It's a pretty different usage pattern. And that's why we see all this saving behavior and this future searching and things like that. Truly, one of the funny stats is that we start seeing searches for Christmas decor and Christmas gifts in May. No joke, people are planning that far ahead on Pinterest. It's just a very different mindset. So it means that when we show product features and, shopping product features and actually show products themselves, they're very contextual to what a user is trying to do, which is plan for their future. Bo, Somnath, or Joyce, anything else you want to add on that question?
Yeah, maybe I'll just add one comment. Having an e-commerce background, I feel like each company has their strength. And in this case, if you call out Instagram and Facebook, I would say distribution or sharing a message is their core strength. Like an advertiser or a merchant wants to share like the new product, they can help them to reach to many users. But Pinterest, as you mentioned, could be different. We are helping users to plan, to discover new items. So that's our core strength.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, maybe Hannah, while we have you, and hopefully your connection is a bit more stable now.
Hopefully, I just switched to a new network, so I'll see.
So I explained a bit about what product analytics and data science does, but if you want to add anything, please feel free. And then would also love to hear about your experience at Pinterest, since you've joined most recently and you've worked at companies of many different sizes. And so I'd love to hear about how Pinterest has compared.
Yeah, definitely. So I've worked at bigger companies like Airbnb. At the time I left last year, it was roughly about 8,000 employees. And I've started my own startup where each person wears many hats and does pretty much everything. So to me, Pinterest is really the perfect middle ground, or you could say it's the best of both worlds. You have the resources, the awesome talent to learn from, and most importantly for the data team, tons of data to mine and analyze. At the same time, I've been really amazed by how everyone has lots of scope and ownership over a significant product area, which is very startup-like. And we're also moving very fast, learning how to build shopping at Pinterest.
Yeah. So a question actually that came in the chat that might be relevant for you or Somnath or Bo is about the volume of data that we're working with. What's the volume of transactions or pinner engagement signals or things like that? And what are some of the challenges that you face with the scale of data that we have?
Maybe I can add a little bit there. So in terms of volume of transaction, I think we have a rough measurement. We certainly drive more than 20 billion or 22 billion GMV over a year. This year it's been going to grow much faster. And just to understand like how big is this, Walmart is pretty big, the world's largest retailer. But if you just think about Walmart e-commerce, their online business, in the US, it is less than $15 billion. So what Pinterest shopping is driving is right now is even bigger than Walmart e-commerce. We are certainly bigger than Wayfair, Macy's, and individual retailers like that.
Yeah, and like some of, just to add to the sense of scale of the data that we're dealing with here, and just these are all public numbers just to give you a sense. We have like almost 500 million global monthly active users. And this is just think about the amount of, and then for those users, they have saved over 300 billion pins. So just think of that amount of data that you can mine and analyze. Like to a data scientist and analyst, that's just the dream.
Yeah, and I will say we have tools that work well on that data too, because yesterday I wrote a classic product manager query where it wasn't optimized, and I was actually querying across the entire pins database, all 300 billion, and it ran within 20 minutes. So maybe it shouldn't have run, but it did. Okay, so Bo, you talked a bit about your experience in the Valley with Deepak and others, but as an ML engineer, it's possible you could work for basically any company in Silicon Valley. So why do you continue to work at Pinterest, and what are some of the challenges that you specifically find in the ML space?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, one, of course, Pinterest as a business is doing extremely well, so that also keep me here. But in terms of the ML challenges, right? So I can, earlier I talked to Yuri and Deepak. I can share some of the conversation. So one is the Pinterest, as a business is doing very well, but what's more important as ML engineers, ML is really the core to the Pinterest business. Right? So if you think about some other companies, ML is nice to have. But with Pinterest, if you don't do ML, none of our search or recommendation will work. Right? So none of our users will keep using it. So that's why it's so important. to work as ML engineers at Pinterest. And also, I think, as already mentioned, as a smaller company and with a small size, our revenue or user per employee is really big. Right? So we always have much more problems to work on than our team. And for example, like shopping, I feel is almost like a new startup within Pinterest. Then going deeper a little bit on ML, right? So I think that there are several interesting challenges. One, as Hannah already mentioned, scale. I do feel we have one of the biggest recommendation problem space in the world, like 500 million user, billions of items. And the second, if you look at our data, it's very rich and in different formats, right? So we have images, we have videos, we have text, we have graph. So some of you might read, Pixie or GraphSage, and now we have structured data like products, right? So it's a very rich data format, which is very interesting as an ML engineer. The third thing is our user. So I feel it's very unique that we have this hybrid of search and recommendation system. If you think about the whole industry, there's no other system like this. And our user, a lot of them search for something, but then we can show them really relevant recommendation to follow up and have them continuously engaged. And I think another thing is our user has really the highest shopping intent among all the other platforms. So if you talk to people working ads, they say their holy grail is to make ads as relevant as the organic results. I do think among all the social platforms, Pinterest has the highest chance to realize this holy grail. So, for example, you go to Facebook, most likely you won't aim for building your life, and the ads is very intrusive, right? So, given all the industry privacy protection, those ads may not be available going forward. But Pinterest, our organic user behavior, is naturally for us and potentially also like shopping. So I definitely feel there's a lot of opportunity for us ahead. And then the last is, when I work at LinkedIn, the mission is I work on finding people jobs. So I definitely feel a good company mission is important for me. And for Pinterest, I feel I can use ML to really help people improve their life. And what I do every day make the world a better place. So that is very important for me as well.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that universally across our employee base I really appreciate. People care about the mission. And it's not mercenary, right, just here because our stock price is doing well, even though, yes, our business is doing well, and that's great, and we're all happy about it. So yeah, I appreciate that too. So Samnak, one more question for you. You joined Pinterest after a significant time at Walmart, which is the largest retailer in the world, and obviously the challenges are going to be pretty different. Can you talk more about that?
Sure, yeah, that's an interesting question. I think challenges are pretty different. Maybe I'll touch, since it's a big transition for me from Walmart to Pinterest, these two companies are quite different, and they are different in size, the number of people who work there. They're different in age, the life stage they're in. They're quite different in culture. I mean, funnily, I remember until recently, Walmart had the policy that you cannot have alcohol in office. So my major part at Walmart, there's no happy hour. But after I joined Pinterest, we remember pre-pandemic, unfortunately we don't have those, but we had this wonderful happy hour every Friday. So leaving aside those, coming back to your question, I feel like what they do, e-commerce, and what we do shopping, at surface it seems very similar, but there's quite a bit of difference. I mean, companies like Walmart or even Amazon or any e-commerce is super focused on helping people to buy something and buy an item. So when a customer or a user has an item in mind they want to purchase, these companies, like particularly Walmart, they make sure they have that item, they have it in stock, they're priced right. Means for Walmart, it is the priced lowest in the lowest possible price. The customer can come to the website, easily find it, make the checkout, and have a very good transaction experience. And also the item is shipped fast, delivered fast. And the post-purchase experience, like return and customer service, is also good. So in summary, the core of those companies are making that buying experience is super good. But as you mentioned earlier, for Pinterest, we think about a different problem. Right? The user has a broad intent and need in mind. Our users wants to decorate their home. They're looking for dress to attend a party, or sometimes they just want to change their wardrobe. So this is the problem. These are the type of problems. With that problem, they come to Pinterest. And our job is to help them to learn their own preferences, like what they really like, what will really make their life better. So help them to learn their preference, and from there narrow down to a specific product that they will really love. So I feel it's a quite different problem and different stages of shopping journey. And what's more exciting is, as Bo probably touched upon, I don't see there is any other solutions there. This is pretty unique. So, but Dan, I would like to hear from you as well, like from the product's perspective, how do you see shopping? Particularly, what are the challenges and opportunities of shopping you see?
Yeah, I appreciate you flipping it back on me, so that not just all of you are.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think one of the biggest product challenges, I mean, it's very much aligned with what you're saying. People have long asked to be able to buy the things that they see in inspirational scenes on Pinterest, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're coming with intent for that product. They just somehow found their way in Pinterest through refinements and articulations and similar recommendations to something that really was right for them. And we're trying to recreate that magic in a scalable way to help people at scale go from a broad query like spring decor to something specific that they want to purchase in their house. And we have to find a way to do this without being overly commercial. Like, we aren't Amazon, we aren't Walmart, and our core value proposition for our users is still inspiration. So we have to find a way to weave in a lot of these purchase elements in more traditional e-commerce feeling experiences, like information about a product or product comparison and evaluation, into a truly inspirational flow. So I think that's one of the biggest product challenges we have.
Cool.
Okay, I think we just have a few more questions, and then I want to make sure we get to some of the ones that have come in on the chat. So let's talk about some of the hardest challenges that you're working on right now. And I'd love to hear from everyone across the board, just what are some of the biggest hurdles you're facing on your teams? Why don't we start with Somnath?
Cool. Yeah, I see many of the audience is asking questions on AML, and I'm sure they will relate to that. I think building a high quality, highly relevant recommender itself is a very challenging AML problem. But I feel like I'll call out the two other bigger challenges, I feel. So when I see the recommendation in shopping, I see it's a little bit different than recommendation on, let's say, YouTube video or even on Instagram or Facebook feed. On those applications, the job of recommendation is to provide a big or infinite list of recommended items. But in shopping, if we put that infinite list of recommended items, the users get lost in that paradox of choice. So we need to put the recommendation in a more structured way. What that means is we have to build multiple different recommenders which are diverse enough. So building one recommendation itself is a challenging problem, and building multiple diverse recommenders is even more challenging. And then what adds to that, when you build multiple different recommenders, now the problem is that you have to put them together in one single page. And putting different recommenders in one single page is no longer a ranking problem, because the recommenders interact with each other. One recommender influences other. There is an overlap between them. We need to have a lot of diversity. So what we are effectively talking about is not a ranking problem, it's a whole page optimization problem, which is even more complex and challenging. Only few companies actually are getting into that and able to make progress. So I'm super excited about that challenge as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to solve that challenge for us. Okay, let's next go to Hannah. Sorry, for everyone listening, I do make a lot of bad jokes. I find it's a good way to get through video conferences. So, Hannah, if you want to talk about one or two of the challenges that your team is facing.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of challenges I could share. The first one, I would say tracking purchases is really hard. We often don't have full coverage on whether people eventually buy after viewing on Pinterest or not. Also, the standard for measurement and tracking is evolving really rapidly across industry. The second challenge, and I would say it's also what makes shopping uniquely exciting to me, is that it is just a new frontier for Pinterest. It's just a new area we're building. And we really don't know in advance what is going to matter. So strategy is just evolving on the fly. This means that for us, like product analytics and data science, a lot of our deep dive analysis are for wide open questions like, how can we help small merchants be more successful on Pinterest? And we need to think really creatively and be able to iterate fast and adapt in real time as we learn more from the data.
Yeah, and the learnings that you have definitely help us figure out how to move forward. So I appreciate it. I actually want to ask you a follow-up question that came in the chat. Can you talk about the split on your team between projects that are more traditional data science versus more traditional analytics?
I assume this question is for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Traditional data science versus analytics. This depends a little bit on what embedded team the person is focusing on. I would say the split is 60% analytics and 40% data science at this point. But then what we really encourage people to think about when whatever role they are taking is that instead of thinking about the tool set that they're going to use and apply, think about the problem that we're trying to solve. So it's less more about like what tools you apply and what the answer is. It's more about what question we should ask. A lot of the time we ask the wrong question and just trying to apply ML everywhere, that might not work. So what our whole team, we think of ourselves as problem solvers rather than like, oh, we have to use this tool for this problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. Joyce, can you talk about some of the challenges that you're working on right now?
Yeah, sure. So I would say in addition to all the product challenges that I just mentioned, for the product technical perspective, actually, we are looking forward to build a way, our seamless purchase experience for scale. So we are actually a service to serve tens of millions of users and a billion of things, and a product from hundreds of thousands of merchants. So the only way we can meaningfully drive shopping in this ecosystem is to build a platform that actually scale across all these dimensions. So this means like we need to standardize our solutions, streamline our onboarding for our merchants, and also focusing on our efforts for the highest leverage partnership, which is actually very critical for our efforts.
Yep, that makes sense. And Bo, how about you?
Yeah, so think about Amazon has been building the product catalog for 15 years, and we just started for less than 1 year. And we aim to make it as good as Amazon. And so that's the overview of how challenging it is. And we have a much smaller team. So I think the number one is we really need to make sure that the information of product on Pinterest is accurate and comprehensive and rich. This will involve a lot of work on content understanding, information extraction. We need to take the product page from the merchant's website, understand where is the price, where's the title, things like that. And we need to do it very, very well because close to 99%, so our pinners can really trust us. Then there are other problems, like we have products coming from different merchants or different variants of the same product. We need to match them. We call it entity matching. We need to know is the same product with slightly differences, so that then we can enable our user to easily compare prices, choose different variants, things like that. And then the third one is Pinterest has traditionally been working on ranking and sorting at the pin level. It's more like an image, and it's been doing very well for almost 10 years. However, now we need to work with all the teams, Somnath's team, Ask team, to really, for shopping results, make sure the Pinterest whole system to rank and organize at the product level. So that includes all the structured information about the product, which are not available as an image, right? So that means our team is not only an ML team, but it's also engineering team. We have a lot of challenges, not only in the ML, NLP, content understanding, but also in large-scale infrastructure, system, backend, and those areas.
So Dan, there is an interesting question from Saurabh Roy in the audience. Maybe you should take that. I feel like we are talking a lot about the users and pinners, and I think this question is about how do you attract and incentives merchants to list their products? So maybe Bo or Dan.
Yeah, I can take that one. Thank you for flagging it, Selma. So one of the way, our pitch to merchants overall is that we can provide them incremental customers. So other sites, I'm not going to name our competitors, but some of our competitors are really good at helping you retarget customers that you've already acquired. But if you are looking to find a truly net new incremental customer who is going to grow your top line, Pinterest is the place to start because 97% of queries on Pinterest are unbranded. So people come here and search things like summer dress, not summer dress from H&M, or living room decor, not West Elm. So it's an opportunity for merchants to get in front of somebody who is interested but hasn't made up their mind, and really grow their business incrementally. And then one of the things we've been focused on is making sure it's really easy for merchants to get on board and set up and to have an inspiring storefront where they can connect with pinners. Last year, we announced a partnership with Shopify that was a step in making it really easy to integrate your catalog and get going.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
I also saw a question that I really liked about working at Pinterest. Would you say there is more collaboration or is it more IC focused? Could you talk about how your teams work together and just generally how much you think you're doing collaboration versus IC work?
Question to me? Or, yeah?
Anyone can jump in.
I mean, I already mentioned, like, we sit in between Bo's team and Joyce's team. And in general, I think Pinterest is a very, very small company. As Bo was mentioning, we build a catalog with probably 1% of the resource we have compared to Amazon. So it's extremely collaborative, I would say. Maybe Bo, Joyce, and Hannah, you can add more.
Yeah, definitely. So as someone has mentioned, in terms of like data or revenue per employee, we're very, very small. Like we're very high, actually. That's why to make it work, we have to work together. We have to build reusable components that support everything. I'm in the content team. We build a lot of content and user platform, and that's very rare to see. For example, our user understanding team, we provide signal both for organic and also ads. Our ads are using the same user understanding as our organic. When I talk to all the other people in the Valley, they are surprised that we're able to do this. So that's why I feel it's highly, highly collaborative within Pinterest.
Yeah, one thing I can add from the product analytics and data science point of view is that it's extremely collaborative. I've seen in other companies where the model is that you have a centralized data team where you just get asked a bunch of questions, you lock yourself in a room for maybe a few months and publish a paper or research or something. That's not how we work. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the two challenges we have is that strategy is really evolving on the fly. So it really requires you to collaborate very, very closely with your partners. So in our case, engineering, design, research, to answer questions together. So there's no such thing as like you're just locking yourself in a place and trying to think of a question for 3 months. It's very,
And
very
I appreciate that the cross-functional team that you just mentioned doesn't include product management. That's right.
Yes, and product.
So one more question, and then I want to talk about what we're building in Toronto specifically. But before we get to that one, can somebody share an example for an experiment that we ran where it helped us to understand how the user shopping experience should be built on Pinterest and how it uniquely should suit pinners? Like so an experiment that showed us something kind of unique about our shoppers.
Joyce, you want to call out any of the product experience?
Yeah. So Maybe I won't talk about specific experiment, but I can tell you more about like our experiment strategies. So there is a first, because shopping is so new and then so like a baby at Pinterest, I would say there are a lot of projects we do as a bets. So for example, like native checkout flow, right? So we're gonna start with like a small set of merchants, which were easy to integrate with. And then through the experiment, we're gonna understand how much value we bring to our merchants and how much value we bring to our painters. So through the experiment, we need to learn whether native checkout do bring the positive value for our painters. If it's do, then we'll scale it, and then to make sure all the painters find the benefits for this feature.
Yeah, and just want to add, I don't know, that was the question behind the question, but anything we do here, we run experiment. We're pretty big on A/B experiment, and the tools we have is pretty amazing. We get results literally in days and all, because we have like these hundreds of millions of users. So all the experiences that we build test through A/B experiment.
Yeah, something near to dear to my heart as a former analyst. Okay, so I want to talk a bit about what we're going to be building out in Toronto. So for context for everyone on the call, by the end of this year, we hope to have about 50 people across engineering, product design, and other skill sets in the Toronto office. Currently, our overall development organization, I actually don't know the total number. I think it's something like 1,200 or 1,300, but we're based across San Francisco, Palo Alto, and Seattle. So this is the first office that we're building out on the East Coast, and we're super excited for that expansion. And so I would love if everyone on the call could talk about specifically what their teams are going to be working on in Toronto and some of the roles that they're hiring for. Why don't we start with Joyce?
Yeah, I'll start. So we are actually building a full stack shopping product engineering team in Toronto, and we'll focus on more around the middle to lower funnel of the shopping journey, things like product detail page, seamless purchase, and native checkout. So we are hiring a tech lead that can actually help us to lead this product area, and a lot of amazing product engineers who is passionate about building a beautiful shopping applications across all the platforms, including web, iOS, and Android.
Cool. Somnath?
Yeah, we will start with having some of the whole page optimization work going on from Toronto. That work requires expertise in the area of explore, exploit, contextual bandit, or even reinforcement learning. Toronto has like a vast pool of ML talent with expertise in these areas. So we'd like to have people like that on board, and looking forward to work with them in that challenging problem.
Bo, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so we're building the shopping content mining team in Toronto. This team will work on the large-scale information extraction system that I talked about, help us to really make our metadata really highly accurate. So this team is a end-to-end ML engineering team. We're hiring ML engineer, backend engineer, and also an edge manager. And this team right now has, we already have 5 amazing engineers, including Patrick, is our amazing tech lead. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to further growing this team.
And Hannah, what about you?
Yeah, for us, to start out this quarter, we're looking for 2 roles. One is a data scientist to partner closely with Somnath's team, so the shopping discovery team. And the other role is the product analyst this one will go float across all the teams within shopping to help us understand and answer the strategy question for the shopping ecosystem, and to help up-level our metric systems and analytics tools.
Cool. So basically, we're hiring for every function and every skill set. So if you're interested, you could apply. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for the panelists for participating. That's going to be it for the Q&A portion of today's session. I'm going to pass it back to Patrick, who's going to close us out, and then we'll talk to you in breakout rooms after that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan, and all the panelists. So the fun's not over yet. Like Dan mentioned, in a couple of minutes, we're going to have some sessions available where everyone can ask more questions, and where things will be split up by categories so we can dig into more details on the areas that you're interested in. Let me just recap some of the key points, though, about Pinterest Toronto. So Pinterest is a major tech company. We have a growing user base and a huge opportunity with shopping. It's a company that you can be proud to work for, and it's a very friendly culture, as hopefully you've seen with our panelists. We have a lot of really interesting tech problems and some best-in-class solutions with this, with really key figures in research and tech leadership. And finally, Pinterest has huge plans for the Toronto office. It's just the third city that they've expanded development to, as you've heard. We're planning to grow to 50 engineers, and we're really key in terms of building a shopping experience for Pinterest. This is also a good chance to actually join from the very beginning and help build the culture here. That's one of the things that really excited me. So thanks again for coming. And if you'd like to join our breakout sessions to ask some more questions or get to know us better, you can click on the sessions button to the left of Hopin and join the room that you're interested in. So thanks a lot, everybody.